Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Julie Mann. I'm also known as the Habit Fixer, and I love helping women over 50 to regain their mojo and age well. And I do that through EFT, which is a very simple tapping technique, nutrition, skincare, and digital products. And today I'm really happy because I'm joined by Katrine Horn. And if you don't know her, she's a life coach, and she specifically works with high achievers who want more success with less stress. And who doesn't want that? So welcome, Katrine.
Thank you so much, Julie. It's such a joy being here with you.
Why don't you just talk to us about, I think you're going to be talking about habits to up-level your life, aren't you?
Yes, because that is really what I help my clients do. I help them close a gap between their real lives and their ideal lives. And that sometimes, I would say almost always, includes an up level. So what I'm going to talk about is not up level in the sense that there's anything wrong now, but when you think about living your ideal life, if you're not living it right now, and I think there's always more, so for most of us, we can always up level. But when you think about that ideal life, who is the woman who's living that life? Like before meeting the man of her life, before making £10,000 a month, before living in the south of France, who is that woman who does that, right? Who is the woman who lives that ideal life? That is such a fascinating question, isn't it? And how can we become that woman ahead of time? Because why wait? Why wait to live our ideal lives? We could be living it right now, or we could be living more of it right now. So what I'm going to talk you through is how you can up level all through the day. But what I'm going to say is not an invitation for all our listeners to go out there and change everything at once, right? Julie, you're the habit fixer. I'm sure you would agree with me that if we make too many changes, radical changes all at once, well, then it's very difficult to sustain. So what we could do to help us, to support us, is to make those little incremental changes that we can sustain till they become habit, and then we can build on those. So that is really what I wanted to make our listeners aware of, where it is that they can up level, where it is that they can stop tolerating or putting up with or settling for, so that they can move towards their ideal lives, right? Who wouldn't want that? I don't know. When I say up leveling, I'm really talking about becoming the best version of yourself. And when I say the best version of yourself, it's not being perfect, because life is rarely perfect and we are very rarely perfect. What I'm talking about is never perfect, always genuine. So when we were born with a trillion possibilities. And all through our lives, we've been choosing. So that's what brought us here. So we can actually choose consciously who it is we want to be out of all the possibilities that we've got. Being genuine doesn't mean that we settle for who we've become, because we've been making choices. Our parents made choices for us. Life made choices for us. And we might just have been following along. But how we can change things is really by making those choices consciously, I believe. So let's get started on that. I want you to think about yourself as a machine. Not that we are machines at all. That's not what I'm saying, but just as an image, because many of us find it difficult to take good care of ourselves because it brings up a lot of guilt. But if you look at it differently, instead of doing self-care to feel good and feeling guilty about it because you really should be getting on with something, if you think of yourself as a machine and what that machine needs to function optimally, then self-care becomes a whole new thing, doesn't it? Like for me, I've noticed that I function best when I give myself tons of time in the morning. And one of my greatest luxuries is that I don't have to have an alarm clock. Like I've set up my business to support me being at my best. And having 7 o'clock appointments is not what I enjoy most, because that would mean I would have to get up really, really early. And if I do that, then I can't go to bed late. So, I don't want to do anything that would upset the machine, if you see what I mean. So I'm always very aware of how it is that I can function optimally. And for me, might not be for you, but for me, it is when I go to bed at a certain time and then I wake up naturally and I don't hit the ground running, right? I take my time. So that's really going to be my first invitation to all of you, is to start off the day in a way that feels so self-caring. And you might say, well, I've got children, I can't take the time. Well, get up before them, please. Get up before them and have some time to yourself and see what that changes throughout the day. Because when you get that extra time just for you in the morning, you become a whole different person during the day, don't you? So again, it's not about an absolute ideal. It's about moving towards an ideal in the present circumstances. So if you've got children you have to take care of in the morning, that's how things are, right? You might want a nanny to come in and do that, but you haven't got one yet. So let's work with that. Well, what would it look like if you could choose without anything dramatically changing around you in your circumstances, without you living a different life? What could you do today that would have you show up at your best? So when you wake up in the morning, ask yourself, who do I want to be today? With everything that's going on in your life, well, how do I want to show up for my life today? What will feel good to me? And then start from there. So once you start making this a habit, always looking at what's best for me, well, then you're able to take so much better care of everybody else in your life, children, husband, colleagues, work, whatever it is, aging parents. When you are at your best, when you're functioning optimally, well, that's when you can really be most of who you are. And that's where you can be of most service to everybody. And that's really something I think, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but just quickly, that as women, we've been brought up to sort of look after other people first. And it's become sometimes a badge of honor. Look how much I'm neglecting myself so that I can take care of all these other things in my life, all these other people. So I down prioritize my own well-being just so that I can feel good, because I'm not taking as much care of myself as I'm taking care of others. So I want us to flip this around and really feel justified without having to justify, but feeling it's okay to take that good care of yourself. So one of the things we could start off with is to open the drawers and our closet and have a look at what's inside of it. Because one of the up levels that could be immediate would be to get rid of everything that doesn't make you feel divine. So I'm exaggerating a bit, but imagine if you had no clothes that you didn't feel you looked great in. Like if you're always dressing for an occasion, I mean, what would that look like? And what I'm not saying is dress up for people. What I'm saying is dress up for yourself. Like, this is your life. Don't say those gorgeous dresses and those fabulous shoes for an occasion. The occasion is right now. It's your life and it's happening now. So when you dress, do so intentionally. Ask yourself, well, how do I want to feel going through my day? Do I want to have on baggy jeans with an old worn out t-shirt, which is one of my 20 really cheap t-shirts that I don't really need? Or do I want to put on something that I can really feel gorgeous in, even though I'm not going out, even though I'm just working at home, even though I'm not seeing anybody. So being at our best is showing up at our best for ourselves, first of all. So we dress for ourselves, we put on makeup if we put on makeup, not for anybody else, but for ourselves. So that is always important to remember. So I'd invite everybody to get rid of all those clothes that no longer serve you. And by saying serving you is they have got you to where you are now, but they won't get you to where it is you want to go. So only the best of what you've got right now will come with you into your ideal life. Those holy t-shirts that are washed out, they won't be coming. So get rid of them. And that is something you can do with your whole house. In your ideal life, will that countertop be full of things that are not sorted and not in their right place? Probably not. Get on with it, right? Go through your whole house and ask yourself, is this coming with me into my ideal life? Is that coming with me into my ideal life? And when you look at it through that lens, you have to let go of that idea that, oh, I better hold on to it till I get something better. But the thing is, we've got far too many things, most of us in life, haven't we? Like, we've got a lot of clutter. And actually, we could get rid of probably at least 50% of what we've got without ever needing it. What if in your ideal life, you suddenly wanted something, you could just go out and get it. You wouldn't need to have held on to it for 20 years before. You could already get rid of all that junk and feel so much better and not having to look at it. So go through your whole house with a critical eye, asking, is this coming with me into my ideal life? Oh, yes. Then hold on to it. And if it's no way, then get rid of it as soon as you can. And again, let me just remind you that you're not doing all of this in one session, right? It's little incremental steps. Go through, with my clients, we go through the bedroom first. We get rid of everything that doesn't have you feel the way you want to feel in your bedroom. Get rid of it, right? And then we can go on to somewhere else. And keeping in mind that it's with all the circumstances. If you've got children, they make a lot of mess. That's just how it is. What would be ideal for me today in these circumstances? So go through your wardrobe, go through your house, and then let's move on to work. How do you want to show up for work? Do you want to show up feeling stressed out? Or do you want to show up in full possession of all your power, like all of who you are, and do your best work? Really? I mean, how do you want to show up? And that is so powerful when you become intentional with how you show up at work. Then things start to move. We've got the idea that we just really have to react to everything that's thrown at us in life. And our power is in choosing how we do react. So if you've been used to just putting up with quarrelsome colleagues or people who complain or whatever it is at work, we'll make a decision and say, actually, this is not how I go through my ideal day. Let me dial that back and change this around. So how do I go through my ideal day? And going on to your ideal day, you might have some habits that you want to shed, because we've all got some habits that don't really serve us for where it is we want to be. They've become habits because they have served us, and lots of those habits are perhaps coping mechanisms that have been really, really useful to us because they have helped us cope. So you might have got into the habit back from work, wanting to relax, switch on Netflix, watch a series, whatever, scroll through social media with your hand in a bag of crisps. And this could be one of the habits that that's not coming with you into your ideal life, right? So what could you do instead? What could you do? And there are so many things you could do instead to relax. Why not watch Netflix for half an hour and then move on to something different, right? Again, about not making too radical changes all at once. Nothing wrong with Netflix, but maybe there's something more interesting to be doing with your life. And maybe there's something you could be doing that would prepare you for where it is you want to be. So instead of watching mindless Netflix, I like to, well, with my husband, we started learning Italian in the evening, just like 10 minutes, you know, little incremental steps. I don't know when we'll be able to speak with a real Italian person, but, you know, we're taking it little bit by little bit. And what is so much more rewarding than just having mindless social media or whatever, consuming something mindlessly is if you set the intention that, oh, this could feel fun. So I'm not saying you have to learn Italian, but what would be fun for you? Could be flower arranging, it could be knitting your jumper, it could be anything. But what would have you show up at your best most of the time? So again, with these coping mechanisms that we've brought with us from the past into our present lives, don't be hard on yourself if you sort of fall back to them. Just remind yourself, okay, oh yeah, I've watched Netflix now for half an hour. Yeah, that's right, I forgot. Let me move on. Let me move on, right? It's okay. I'm doing that thing still. I'm trying to get over here. And it's okay if it's messy on the way back. Again, life is rarely perfect. We're allowed to get it wrong, but we're always aiming to get it righter and righter, if I can say it like that, knowing that there is no absolute right. So all through our days, how is it that we can up-level? In food, in our activities, in how we have conversations with people, in our relationships. How is it that we can be more of who we've got the potential to be? I hope I have made it clear that I'm not talking in absolutes. There is no absolute perfect that your life will suddenly be once you've got that dream man, once you're living in your dream house with a dream job, with a dream income, right? There will still be life happening and it will rarely be perfect. So that's just how it is. But if we keep reminding ourselves, never perfect, always genuine, I think that is so motivating and inspiring. So I would really recommend you have a close look at everything you do during the day and just ask yourself, where do I want to start? If this is my one life, how do I want to be living it? And what would today make a radical difference? It could be just sorting out one of your kitchen drawers. Let me do that. And then let me sit down and feel so good about it. I think one of the emotions that we neglect is satisfaction. I think it's so easy to create. We go for ecstatic joy, but you know, it's not always possible to get there, but we can very easily get to satisfaction. So find something that you could do immediately that would create great satisfaction for yourself and take it from there in little incremental steps. So what I help my clients with is to dial in the vision of what their ideal life is. So we look at where it is they are right now and where it is they want to be and how do they close a gap? How do they start moving towards their ideal lives? And we always start with belief that it is possible. It's not possible right now or in 5 minutes, but if we start making the changes now, how soon can we be over here? And it's always so surprising how soon it is that we get to be over here. And on that subject, my dream is to live in a chateau, in a French chateau. Chateau is just French for a castle, really. But that is where I'm going. So I already live in the south of France, so it's a good start. I already live in an old mansion, and I'm practicing having my chateau, as you can see behind me. already doing some of the things that I will be doing in my chateau lifestyle. So I planted myself a flower garden. I surround myself with fresh flowers. I go out into my garden in the morning just to feel that chateau feeling. And whatever I do in the day, I'm always aware that, oh, this is helping me become the chatelaine, the person who lives in that chateau, right? So I'm already enjoying that lifestyle. First thing in the morning, I'm not thinking about the dishwasher I have to load, right? I'm thinking about, oh, my flowers, what are they doing today? So I'm already living some of that. And that is really what I would love for our listeners to take away. How can I live more of my ideal life right now? An easy way is to get rid of the clothes that are no longer serving you and put on something that you feel great in. That is an instant up level, isn't it? And put it on for yourself, not for other people. That's what I like to say. If you want to find out more about me, I would recommend you hop over to my website and reach out to me. You can even book a consultation where I can take you through from your real life to your ideal life, create that vision that will inspire you to take action. Just reminding you that it all starts with belief. We first start believing that it's doable, it's possible, and then we start doing it. Does that make sense?
Oh my goodness, it does. It's so, so powerful what you've been talking about, Katrine. And I love that you talked about being satisfied with the small things, sorting out that kitchen drawer. And actually, you talked about clothes and, decluttering a bit, having that worktop looking, the way it might do if you were in your dream life. But also, I guess, it's starting with underwear, isn't it? It's like getting rid of those pants that, they've seen better days, the elastic's gone. Get rid of those. I mean, it's those small things. So how would you advise people to keep that practice in place? If they at the moment can't, book a call with you, or they don't have the funds perhaps or the time necessarily to come and see you, and all your links will obviously be below. Is there a strategy that will keep this in place so they can remind themselves that, yeah, they can do the kitchen drawer today, but, tomorrow they can do the next bit? So what would you recommend?
Well, I like to dedicate 15 minutes per day to an up level. So today my up level will be I want to force paper whites, so I have flowers at Christmas. So that's my little up level. Just every day, schedule in 15 minutes to go through your kitchen drawer, which doesn't cost any money, or throw out those underpants you were just talking about. It doesn't cost any money. It can, like, I probably spent £3.50 on my paper whites, right? It's something that will give me immense joy just for a little bit every day. And then take the time to savor it. So cleaning out your kitchen drawer, once you've done that, sit down and savor it. Let your subconscious mind take it on that this is the person you are now. You are the kind of person who's got tidy kitchen drawers. Wow, here's proof. I just made that. This is who I am now. Look at yourself in the mirror and say something nice to yourself. Like, this is who I am. Really take time to savor it. So whatever it is you choose to create today, whatever up level you've got, schedule in the next one once you've done it for tomorrow. And once you've done that, schedule it in for the day after. Always make sure you have those, whatever time you've got, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is, schedule it in day by day. Make it a non-negotiable. Remember, you're keeping the machine going. This is what the machine needs to function optimally, is to feel the satisfaction on a daily basis. Does that make sense?
It does. So when someone's gone through, taken 15 minutes to go through their kitchen drawer, and then some other machine comes and muddles it all up or adds other stuff to it, how does this machine then keep that ideal life creation in place? Is it about having conversations with the other machines? How do you do it?
It is about having the conversations, but I think before we feel empowered to have that conversation, we have to feel deep down that this is what we need, right, to function optimally. We can have a conversation with the husband who comes and messes everything up and say, you shouldn't be doing that. I just put all this into order. You're a horrible person, right? That's one way of dealing with it. And we do that when we don't feel that what we've done is justified. We react in anger when we feel that our needs are being ignored, but first of all, by ourselves. When we are certain that that kitchen drawer should stay organized, when we know that that is just not a negotiable, right? This is just who we are. Well, then we can have that empowered conversation with the person who messes us up, the machine that does something we don't like. Then we can just have that honest conversation and say, I feel the best when this is really tidy. How do you want to keep it tidy? What would be best for you? But not putting it into question that it should be tidy, right? We're not changing our needs and desires. We're not making them or fitting them in, like in a sort of what I like to call barbed wire boundary way. It's just about saying our needs clearly. And perhaps you don't so much mind about a kitchen drawer, but if somebody can't respect your desires in one area, often they're not respecting them in another area, right? This is something that could be going through as a red thread in your life. Have a look at that. And then ask, well, could you keep this kitchen drawer really tidy because it makes me feel good? And if the person says, no, I can't be bothered, well, then that's a little piece of information that you might want to ponder on, right?
Yeah, brilliant. There's so much in what you've said, Katrine, and I'm definitely going to go back and watch it. So for any of you who are watching or listening, who have been really, really inspired by what Katrine has said, then check out her links will be below, as will mine. And do reach out, ask her a question. And if you've enjoyed watching this, then please do subscribe and share it with others. So thank you, Katrine, so much for all your wisdom. It was wonderful.
It was my pleasure. Thank you, Julie.
I'm so looking forward to seeing your castle, your chateau. And thank you everyone else for watching.